appreciate it. So we are here tonight to celebrate the 40th annual event for the Community Loan Fund. Welcome, everyone. If I sound nervous, it's because I am. My name is Demetria Canty, and I am the CEO and founder of Live Limitless Refuge Center. It is the first luxury women's shelter in the region for New York State, and I'm very proud of it. I could not be doing this without the Community Loan Fund, and that's being really sincere and honest. I don't know where I would be if it had not been for them taking the chance on me. This woman with a vision and a mission to help homeless women and give them back their dignity and their self-esteem. So it meant a lot when I met Dorian and told him what I was trying to do. He really got behind me with this and helped me get to where I am. So again, I'm personally here to say thank you, Dorian. Thank you for your work. I am proud of what they do in the community, and I really couldn't thank them enough. So enough about me. Let me say a little bit more about me. To tell you a little bit about my shelter, it is a 31-bed facility. It houses women of all walks of life who have lost their way, who have been homeless and kind of out there in the world trying to find their way back to society. We do a different kind of spin on the shelter. I am proud to say that we do it with luxury and style, and if anyone wants to come and visit, you're more than welcome. It's 3075 6th Avenue in Troy, New York. And again, like I said, it houses 31 women. And we do their hair. We have a salon downstairs in the basement so they can get their hair done, their nails done. We provide clothing, we provide meals, and most of all, we give them their self-respect back. That is something that I pride myself on. Because we know as women, nothing against the men, but women, we sometimes get forgotten and looked over and kind of just like, So in my place, we definitely want to work from the outside in, and our model is if you look good, you feel good, and if you feel good, you want more. So that's kind of where we are. So enough about me. I just wanted to share that because we are one of a kind, and I really take a lot of, I didn't want to reinvent the wheel. I just wanted to kind of add to it. And so we've done just that. We've partnered with a few other people in the communities around the region, so I'm very excited about where we're going next. So please, feel free, come by, look at our website, get to know us a little bit more, and we are taking referrals. So if you know any homeless woman out there right now, please get her to the Department of Social Services of any region. We will take anyone as long as we have a bed, and we will help them get on their way. So enough about me. Moving on. Okay. Technology. Give me 1 second. Okay, so I would like to introduce our first speaker of the night. She is the board president, Lacey Griffin Brock. Please help me welcome our first speaker of the evening.
There's stairs right here, honey.
I was gonna. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Okay. Good evening. I also am nervous. Public speaking is not my jazz, but for the Community Loan Fund, we show up. So good evening, everyone. I'm happy to see you all. Like she said, my name is Lacey Griffin Ross. I am the board president for the Community Loan Fund. I have the honor of serving as the board president of the Community Loan Fund. It is such joy to welcome you all as we come together to celebrate 40 years of loans and celebration and impact that we've had on this community. One of the most important decision that a board can make is selecting an executive director. And we took our time because we wanted to make sure that we got it right. We wanted to make sure that the person who filled this role not only cared about the Community Loan Fund, but had a deep and profound passion for the community in which we live in. And we are joyful and happy and honored to welcome Dorian Wells as the new executive director to the fund. And with that, I thank you all for coming and being here and continuing to support the Community Loan Fund.
Dr. Susan Olet, our Executive Director for Hudson Mohawk Industrial Gateway.
Thank you. I'm really honored to be here tonight and to actually add my congratulations to Dorian. I worked with Dorian with our projects that we just finished, and it was a pleasure and a joy, and I'm so pleased that he's been given this opportunity to move into that position. So, the Gateway is actually the Burton Ironworks Museum. We're located in the what was the office building of the Burton Ironworks, and for a very long time it was a derelict building. As you can see here, windows were missing, the place was overgrown, there were tarps on the roof, it was in really bad shape. But in 1974 it was listed as one of 7 to save. And a group of people got together and decided to do just that. And they worked really hard to do that. Now, we have worked actually with Community Loan Fund several times. The first time was when we replaced the roof in 2008. I wasn't there at the time, but I do know that through the ability to borrow and bridge grant funds and so on, we were able to install the Spanish tile roof, which will last far longer than I'll be around. Interior, we did a lot of, we repaired the plaster, we painted, we repaired floors, we sorted through all of the various artifacts that we have, and we have now created a museum space that is really worth a visit. So I invite you to come and check us out. We are really happy to provide tours and to be a community resource. We're still kind of waiting for school groups to come, but maybe sometime soon. None of this would be possible without the ability to access the funds from the Community Loan Fund. We, several years ago, we got a $500,000 grant from New York State. There's no way we could have used that money without Community Loan Fund to bridge us, because you have to spend it to get it, right? You gotta pay your contractors, and the contractors don't want to wait for the money either. So, so all of that was made possible, and we are now moving towards becoming a professional museum with the help of the Community Loan Fund. Thank you very much.
Our next speaker would be Nishea Richardson. She is the founder and CEO of Wealth Phenom and a graduate of Community Loan Fund 9-week business training course.
Hey y'all, hey. I love it. So I am Nishea Richardson. I am the founder of Wealth Phenom and an Albany native. I am also a proud mom of a senior son this year, so pray for me, y'all. We're gonna get through it. But I have a passion for helping people feel really good about their money. Yeah, it helps them build confidence so that they're not ashamed, they're not stressed, and they're in control of their life and their finances. And that's a big part of how I got here. And a big part of how I got to where I am now is because of the Community Loan Fund. When I first started my business, I had the passion of purpose, and I didn't really have the structure to go along with that. And I wanted to help others with their financial wellness, and I was already doing the work with people one-to-one, but I was still learning what it meant to take that impact beyond those one-to-one individual sessions and actually run a business. That's when Destiny and the Community Loan Fund came into my life. I was introduced to Destiny and right And in that first introductory email, Destiny asked, how can we support? And from there, it led to me hosting quarterly workshops for the Community Loan Fund, financial wellness workshops for small business owners to help them with their personal finances. And it gave me the visibility, the credibility, and most importantly, the connections that I needed to expand my business. Every workshop introduced me to more people in the capital region who cared about financial growth and community impact. And those connections opened doors for me. That led me to partner with organizations like the Affordable Housing Partnership, and now I host monthly money strategy sessions for them, and we have anywhere from 75 to 90 people who register every single month. We actually just had a session last night, and Tracy gave me flowers. But yeah, so we are helping families really reduce the racial wealth gap in Albany, and anyone who signs on and they join us for those workshops, they get the support that they need with their financial wellness. And now, while I was out there teaching financial wellness, I was also learning business wellness, and the Community Loan Fund was a huge part in that. I enrolled in the 9-week business course, and which completely shifted the way that I operated. I walked in as a woman with an idea and walked out with a business plan, an LLC, and a whole new level of confidence. So that course, it helped me understand everything from business structure to bookkeeping, the kind of behind-the-scenes stuff that keeps businesses running smoothly, and reminded me that every entrepreneur needs guidance and support. What I love most about the Community Loan Fund is their support doesn't end when the class does. They have been a continued trusted partner for me and resource, connecting me with local professionals, services, and opportunities that have helped my business grow sustainably. And they don't just give you information, they give you a community. Every time I reach out to Destiny to say, hey, I need someone in this area of support, whether it be helping me figure out how to license my programs, or I need a bookkeeper, or someone that you can connect me with, she's always had someone, made the email introduction, and helped me to get to the next level. So that is why I keep showing up for this organization. When Michael reached out and said, can you speak? I was like, look, this is the only day I actually have available, and yes, I will be there because they are always there for me. Every time that I ask for help, they're there to support. So I continue to offer my financial wellness workshops, courses, lunch and learns for organizations, helping employees and community members strengthen their financial confidence. And whenever I think back to how I started, I'm reminded that the Community Loan Fund gave me the tools, training, and support to stand here today. And because of what this organization does, it creates a ripple effect that doesn't just help small businesses, but they help everyone. So, from the bottom of my heart, I'd like to thank Destiny. I don't know if she's here, but Destiny, the Community Loan Fund team, the board, everyone who's a part of the Community Loan Fund. I'll continue to carry the same spirit, empowering others to build peace of mind, community, and a little extra play money along the way. Thank you.
And now we'll be watching a video with Destiny Watkins.
Hi, I'm Destiny Watkins, the Director of Training and Technical Assistance at the Community Loan Fund. I've been with the organization for 11 years in January, which is a great milestone for me. For me, the Community Loan Fund has been a really supportive environment to grow both professionally and as a business mentor. I love the work that we do. I believe very strongly in the mission, which is why I've been here for so long. I've held almost every position that you could at this organization. I started back in 2014 as an intern from the College of St. Rose. I had a business idea that I was interested in pursuing, and my internship coordinator said, hey, I have the perfect place for you to go to learn more about how to follow your dreams, how to execute a business. And I was placed at the Community Loan Fund. Had no idea about the organization, never heard of it before, didn't know the incredible work that they do. And I decided to take a chance on it and accept the internship. So I interviewed and was offered an internship position building out a collection of resources for small businesses in the area. But at the same time, I was able to get a behind the scenes look at the types of clients that they served, the work that they did, how they talked people through everything from idea and concept to strategic business planning for their business. And after graduation, I became a member of staff. I was hired in the training and technical assistance department, working one-on-one with business owners, doing business plan development, talking to them about how they could make their dreams come true the same way that I was just considering. You know, I learned so much more about what it took to effectively and legally launch a business that I kind of put my business plans on hold and was able to sort of strengthen and cultivate others in that area. About a year and a half later, there was an opening in the lending department. So I became the small business lender, taking that training and TA experience to the next level. Now I was helping folks get connected to financial resources in order to launch that business plan I had recently helped them create. It was really enlightening and interesting about the way that the loan fund helps support small businesses in the community, help them accelerate, teach them a little bit more about the financial knowledge and skills that most organizations don't give, that behind the scenes sort of hand holding. I like to call it common sense lending. You know, we talk people through their strategic plans, we look at their financial budgets, we look at their cash flow, and able to help them make more solid and strategic financial decisions before the loan and after. So I really got to help see businesses grow from that seed to this, you know, well-rounded flowering thing that continues to elevate and evolve. And I did that for about 6.5 years. Ironically, our longstanding training and technical assistance director retired, and I put in for the position. I thought about being able to take some of the things I learned from lending back to training and TA and help build out some of the programming that we have, and I was offered that position. So I've been the director of training and TA about 3.5 years now, and have just tried to really shepherd us into a more innovative and inclusive environment of offerings. So making sure that we have, you know, virtual offerings to meet our folks where we are. We cover 11 counties. That's quite a huge area. And having to expand the type of workshops and trainings and individuals and professionals that we work with to meet the needs of the ever-growing economy. So I've really enjoyed my time here. I plan to be here for more years to come, thinking of new ways that we can support our community and our small businesses and nonprofits. And I just really believe in the mission. I think it's been great. The staff have been supportive of helping me grow professionally as well and expand on some of the crazy ideas that I have that have been successful. We've really been making an impact, touching hearts, changing lives, and it is more than money.
Next, we'll be hearing from Ruth Castle. She is the Director of Operations at the Community Regions Investment Trust.
Lacey, I'm impressed that you even thought you were going to jump that thing right there. That's impressive. Hello, everyone. Ruth Castle. For those of us who haven't met, I hope to meet you all soon. I think that some of you have heard the Community Investment Trust name kind of put around, but I don't know if everyone really knows what it is. And so I thought I'd start with that. So the Community Investment Trust is something that was brought, an idea that was brought, I'll give a little bit of the history before Mike gives me the shepherd's hook, to this area from Portland. And the idea is to have a building in a low-income neighborhood, in a distressed neighborhood, that the neighborhood will want to invest in, right? And so we have a building on South Pearl Street that we purchased, and this Community Investment Trust, which is forging a pathway for inclusive investment, I've always called it is that on-ramp to investment. I think we often find that people need to lower that rung of the ladder, right? People need a smaller first step. So the idea of the Community Investment Trust is to create a really, literally concrete and accessible investment opportunity for people who never see themselves as investors. So how do we help a neighborhood that feels left out switch the narrative, flip their mindset from feeling like there's nothing for them to they are investors and they are owners of their neighborhood. So the idea is that we have this building that they can invest in. And that we start with a learning class called Owning to Owning. I'm very nervous, but I can do this. And Owning to Owning is a class I actually took twice, and I've learned a lot from it as well. It's a very discussion-based class so that people can meet each other, right? It's also a way for the neighborhood to get together and talk about how to go to just flip mindsets from Owning to Owning. So a very good class. Next, if you choose to, you can invest in the buildings. And the investment is very accessible. It's designed to be $10, $25, $50, or $100 a month. I don't know why they don't have 75, but I'll talk to them about that. I don't know why that's bothering me so much. For those of you that know about investment, it's not crowdfunding, it's actually a modified real estate investment trust. So that we are modeled after a real estate investment trust. But with some things in there to make it safe. And so as a REIT investor, you will get annual dividends, and when the building increases in value, so do your shares, so you get to participate in a neighborhood, in the ascension of a neighborhood. And so it's kind of also an anti-displacement tool. It's the idea that you can participate in and be part of a neighborhood's rising rather than watching it happen around you. It's local, so the idea is, like I said, it's concrete. People can see what they're investing in, and I think when people are starting to think about investment, you really want something very tangible and concrete that they can see. I can walk into this building, I can talk to people, and trust me, when some of the people in the neighborhood who want to invest, they have a sense of ownership. They will come in and they will let me know what's going wrong and what needs to be done, and I love it. I love it because I can see that sense of ownership already starting. And it's loss protected. So we work with a bank. We have a bank interested, I hope, still, to build this direct pay letter of credit so that no one will lose their investment at all. So it's a safe on-ramp to investment. Good? So that's the overview. The up and down, left and right, full thing in a few minutes. But it is a national program, right? This comes from Portland, you'll see over there. But it's been updated since I put this together. There are more cities doing this. I might be a slight bit competitive, and we are neck and neck with Omaha, Nebraska, and Dallas, Texas. And I have feelings about losing to Omaha, Nebraska. So I hope that we can do this quickly, because I would like Albany to be the first city in the country to launch a community investment trust. But by the way, I really like them in Omaha and Dallas. They're really nice. Omaha's been super helpful, but I still want to keep their pants off. I'm just going to go back a little bit to the history, right? Because if people know me, they know how much I care about this project. And this is something that, even when I was working at Sienna in 2018, 2019, I was doing some grocery store research with a village and helping to set up the night market and doing just a lot of work in the South End in general. I've been part of the South End work for a long time. I had some children, took a break, and then I went back, but I've been there. And I found that in all these conversations, I was really seeing a lack of hope. Like everything that we see in all this comes down to the need for hope. And people who work with me know that I talk about keeping people in the orange zone. And I'm a community organizer at heart. I have a lot of expertise in change management, organizational change management, and also leadership development. At the individual level, at the organizational level, and at the community level, it is all the same, right? That orange zone is your learning zone. And what I found is that there are a lot of people in a false green zone, right? I know it's messy, but if I just take care of myself, I'll be good, right? I can just ignore it all. You just put the bubble on, and you're not changing anything, right? On the other side, you see people in the red zone. And I hear a lot of people say, I wonder what they're going to do with that building, right? And what I want is for people to be in the orange zone. This is a problem, what are we going to do, right? What are we going to do about the vacant buildings? What are we going to do about concentrations of poverty? What are we going to do about the levels of renting in our neighborhood? So I find that this, even in 2018 and 2019, when David Kraft at Albany Laws, I want to give him his props because he brought this model to the capital region, was talking about this model, I immediately saw people go from what are they doing to can we get that building too? Can we get that one? And it was just a conversation about the model, and people already started flipping that mindset. So it was really beautiful. That and people yelling at me in the building, all of these things, you would think they didn't know immediately, make me really happy because they show me that people really want this. People really, really want an accessible way to improve their neighborhoods and to build and develop. Thanks. So in 2020 and 2021, we built what our guiding coalition, right? And what this needs is powerful partners to come together and bring their expertise together to make this work. So Albany Law and Community Loan Fund and Sienna, because I put my nose in. I was like, this project's great, and I'm sticking with it. I invited myself. We worked with the Community Investment Trust in Portland, and we did a feasibility study. So this was about having the Community Loan Fund with a great reputation for being able to work in communities and work well in communities and understanding how to make money happen and to move money and to bring the right people in the room. With Sienna, I had AmeriCorps resources, and I was able to get the research done and really bring student and faculty work with Albany Law, all the legal expertise, and the Community Investment Trust. So it really was a great team of people, and if you want to go to the next slide, you don't even need to know what's happening on this, but we reviewed 38 buildings at least. We toured at least 7 of them, I'm thinking. We had 2 that we had to decide from, and we purchased 153 South Pearl Street because it was the old Coliseum. It was a building that the community already felt it was theirs. And so we said, great, that part's done. Now we just need to make it shine again and make sure it truly is, and that it truly belongs to the community. So you don't even know what's happening there, but there was a lot of back-end work to get this done. I keep saying this is a simple concept with a really complicated back-end. It should be easy for the investors, but we have a lot of work to make it that easy. So that was 21, 22, and now you can see after that even more. You don't even need to know what it is, but know that there's a whole project map going on behind the scenes with Gantt charts and all the things that you think of when it comes to project management. We've been working on to make sure that we have around the property and getting the finances together, making sure all the legal articulations are there, and CIT is that we're following the Portland model and we're able to do the operations and the education outreach. I'm going to share. I think I look over here. I'm like, I've been getting all the educational programming done. I keep telling her, so this is what we've been doing up till now. And if you look to the next slide, you don't, like I said, you don't need to know the complicated stuff, but it's happening. In 2026, this year I've learned a new model. I read a new book, and if any of you have read Reclaiming Your Community by Majora Carter, she talks a lot about talent retention. Again, communities, individuals, and organizations have a lot in common. How do you, if companies do a lot of work to retain talent, so can communities, right? There are a lot of talented people in our neighborhoods, and they see success as leaving. And so how do we make success stay, right? How do we see ourselves as like the neighborhood company that is developing the programs and the opportunities so that people stay and have the power to do what they want to in their own neighborhood, right? Get out of that I'm going to do what I need to, or I need to get out of here mode to be able to do what they need. So this year, my goal is to really go into talent retention mode and to get our building leased up. We're finishing the construction. We're going to be bringing on tenants. If anybody has ideas, come talk to me. We're going to be selling the building to the CIT. So the idea is that the Community Investment Trust is a corporate entity that offers the shares. So we have a specific entity that will do that. Continue to build this culture of belonging, build this culture of a space where the community really feels like they belong there, they own that, and it is theirs to be there. We're bringing on the owning facilitators, launching the classes, and I hope to have investors by next summer. So I hope that was did I get the shepherd hook yet? All right, that was the down and dirty introduction to the Community Investment Trust. Thank you so much.
Not that any of that stuff wasn't good, but this is the really good part. Dorian Wells! I'm so excited to be able to stand here and introduce Dorian. I don't even know, there's not even enough words for me to really say how I truly feel about him, but he's been with this organization for a very long time, over a decade. Now he's taking over the organization that he loves dearly as their new executive director, Dorian Wells.
Thank you, Demetria. And also, before I I begin, I just want to thank everyone, and please forgive me if you've emailed me a well wish, a congratulations, and I've not gotten back to you. I swear I'm working on that. And so just thank you for all the well wishes, the congratulations. It's truly humbling to hear that. Also, before I talk, I just wanted to thank Assemblyman McDonald and Congressman Tonko and their staff who are here. I know maybe they've left earlier. Assemblyman McDonald, Congressman Tonko, and his staff. This is a beautiful proclamation celebrating our 40th anniversary this year, a proclamation by Congressman Paul Tonko. And so I know we'll have this up in our office, and I'll make sure to make it available if you want to see it. But thank you so much, Congressman Tonko and your team, for this wonderful proclamation celebrating our 40th anniversary. Next, I want to thank everyone for coming. I know all of you have lots of things on your schedule, so I just really appreciate everyone taking time out of their busy schedule to be here tonight. I know people have family and kids and things that are going on, grandkids to see, so thank you so much for coming. Next, I wanted to acknowledge all of our current board members. So if you're a current board member, would you mind standing, please, so we can give you a round of applause? Thank for all of you and your governance and leadership. Thank you, board, for giving me this opportunity to serve as executive director. In light of our 40th anniversary, are there any past board members present? Any past board members, could you stand? Yes, hey, thank you so much for your service. And then now current staff. Of course, obviously we can't do any of this without our staff. Any current staff, would you mind standing? Give you a round of applause. Yeah, I think some are out. Part of why I just feel so embarrassed by all the well wishes and congratulations to me is that I know that it's the staff. You know, it's not me. It's everyone who works such long hours. I just crack up late at night, or I'll get a text from someone, and so everyone with the organization works so long, tirelessly for the effort. I just love how everyone is so passionate about the mission and what we do. And so, are there any past staff here? Past staff, if you can stand up. A legend. I just want to say that words can't express how honored and humbled I am to serve as the next executive director of the Community Loan Fund. Thank you. It's truly a privilege, and I use that word privilege on purpose. I count it as a privilege because the Community Loan Fund, in my opinion, upstate New York's premier community development financial institution, or CDFI, plays two critical roles here in the Capital Region. I find this a privilege to serve as the executive director for two primary roles that we play. First, on the nonprofit side of our work, did you know that the Loan Fund is the critical hub that keeps a host of other nonprofit organizations in business and operating? Right? The Community Loan Fund serves a critical role as the hub by which a host of other nonprofits in our region exist and do business. Worded differently, if the Community Loan Fund disappeared tonight, there would be a devastating ripple effect throughout the region, adversely impacting, as of today, 95 nonprofit loans that we have that are current, totaling $13 million. Let that soak in. If the Community Loan Fund disappeared tonight, there would be a devastating ripple effect throughout the region, adversely impacting 95 nonprofit loans, not counting our commitments of loans that are going to close shortly, totaling $13 million. So you're giving to the, yes, so a critical role, so just a privilege to serve an organization that's the spoke, the hub that allows others to be able to, most of those loans are bridge financing. That's why Demetria shared, or maybe it was Dr. Roulette. So many or most of our borrowers, they need to do the work first, submit the paperwork to their grant source, who then reimburses them. So if the loan fund disappeared, $13 million of impact would go. The second reason I count it as a privilege to lead the Loan Fund is because our training in personalized technical assistance in small business lending are leading the way in assisting people of low income, women, and people of color in creating intergenerational wealth. Our loans and our training and technical assistance serve as a stepping stone for people of low income to enter the middle class. So again, an honor and a privilege, and I use that word not lightly, to serve as the Loan Fund. Serve as the ED here, the Loan Fund. Tonight, I'd like to briefly, and I swear it'll be brief, we're going to be right on time, I believe. Tonight, I'd like to briefly share a little bit about my background and how my past has shaped me for the service of Executive Director to the Loan Fund. And also will share how my past meshes very nicely with the critical work and mission of the Loan Fund. Lastly, I'll conclude by just sharing a little bit about my hopes and vision for this invaluable 40-year organization and connecting you with that vision. First, my background starts with the fact that I'm a proud Hoosier. All right, I'm a proud Hoosier from Indiana. There was a time when I was a little more immature where even though I didn't know you, I would just bore you with senseless Indiana trivia, all the famous people from Indiana. If you ever take a flight, the next time you're on a plane, think of Hoosier. One of the Wright brothers was from Indiana. His brother was from Dayton, Ohio, almost on the border. But so now I've learned in my maturity not to bore you with senseless Indiana facts. But I'm a proud Hoosier, and with that, you can know that I bring, first of all, a Hoosier horse scent. I don't remember the name of the senator, but a famous senator long ago used this phrase in a Senate hearing that went national. He talked about Hoosier horse scent. So it's the fact of just using common sense. So as Executive Director, bring a very common sense approach to things. Also, I bring that Indiana Midwest ethic as well. A motto you'll hear me say a lot in my one-on-one meeting with you. You'll see it in letters. A motto that I live by as it relates to donor relations and investor relations is this. My goal or vision is to help you feel comfortable, confident, and connected with your investment or donation with us. Right? So my goal as it relates to donor and investor relationships and our team and staff is to help you feel comfortable, confident, and connected with your investment with us. So you'll know that as a Hoosier with that Indiana ethic, where I grew up, where I literally recall a friend of mine, Brett, in high school. I was with him. We were visiting his grandfather. His grandfather bought a very large farm equipment with just a handshake. He said, I'm going to pay you each month, and it's just a handshake. So there's no promissory note involved. And so I remember watching, there in Indiana, where farmers, in this case, my friend Brett, just did a deal with just a shake of the hand. So you can know, back to my motto, you can feel comfortable and confident in your investments with us that the Loan Fund is going to do the right thing. Right? So there's an ethic to that. Our board is committed to that. We know we're going to do the right thing. You probably know that Indiana is famous for its obsession with basketball. I would say the state religion of Indiana is basketball. I played that all my life, high school, college as well. So I really take that Indiana team approach where it's about the team, not the individual. I think I've shared with some of you all, the intention has just been embarrassing of late. So I'm of the mindset where it's about the team, not taking attention for oneself. I'm a proud Hoosier, despite our reputation, a reputation that maybe many of you immediately thought of, a reputation that, yes, I accept it. It's part of our reputation, the way you might have an oddball family member that's part of the family. You still got to accept that oddball family member, right? Or maybe am I the only one with an oddball family member? I don't know. So one reputation that Indiana famous is for, and I get this a lot, and it is shaping me, and you'll see where I'm going with this. Oftentimes when I'm bragging about my Hoosier roots, a person will say to me, I've lived in Indiana for a while, or they have family members that live there and they visit, and they'll say, Indiana is the most openly racist state I've ever lived in. Right? So I'll get that a lot. There's a gentleman in our building room once we were talking about that early on. Or I'll get, hey, did you know some historians believe that Indiana is the birthplace of the Klan? And so of course I'll know that. And here's just a little bit about my background and how that shapes. last year, my then 12-year-old son asked me, I think they were studying the civil rights movement or something, so he asked me last year, he was 12 at the time, Dad, have you ever been called the N-word? And I said, geez, yes, all the time, hundreds of times. And his mouth just dropped. He said, what, to your face? I said, well, yeah, to my face. I got called N-word all the time. And he just stood there staring at me. So as you know, in Indiana with our past, my family in third grade were one of the, I think the second black family in the apartment complex that we had moved to, one of only a handful of blacks in this particular community. And so near daily, people would roll the window down, N-word, go home, N-word, you're not supposed to be here. And sometimes just at a store, and just walking down the street, someone would call you that. I'll never forget, I can see it like it was yesterday. I remember it was an older lady in a blue dress, and it was Sunday after church. The restaurant was called MCL Cafeteria. Why I had the name cafeteria, I think just country people name restaurants cafeteria. But it was a Sunday afternoon after church, and I remember it was an older lady who was a little disgruntled and upset, and she didn't want to sit down in the booth. And I remember her, kids and grandkids and people were trying to get her in the booth. Finally, she sat down, but I could tell she was upset. So I didn't know if it was just she didn't like the sermon, was the table not clean enough? So she sits down, and then a black server came. So when the black server came to take her order, and I can see it like it was yesterday, she's, that's it. So she got up and she said, where I could hear my mom and family, we all heard her say, it's bad enough sitting next to these in, and now I have a black server. And so she got up and left. And I remember that, and even though I was probably junior high, I just remember just devastatingly hurt, thinking, we're just sitting here eating next to you. What's the deal? I've seen smoldering embers of burned crosses from Klan rallies right near where we lived. I remember as a kid digging, so I was like fourth grade or so, digging and found a belt buckle that I just thought was the coolest thing, had this cool logo. So I came home, showed my mom and my auntie, and I'll tell you a little bit about that. And they were like, look, you gotta throw that away. I'm like, why? It's such a cool logo. It was a Ku Klux Klan belt buckle. My last story, which I hope you find humorous, and if any basketball fans here, this next story is a true story, I swear, a true story. So I went to predominantly black schools in spite of our racial past. I was in third grade when segregation came, so I remember going to all black schools, and then third grade is when integration or busing came. But the high school I went to was predominantly white. Our lower grades were reversed, mostly blacks. But the high school, it was myself and two other black teammates. So this is basketball season, and I can tell you where I was standing on the court, by the free throw line. I can see it like it was yesterday. My coach was Jim Titus. We were about to play a school in a town in southern Indiana that was just known for its Klan activity. Just the weekend before our game was Friday night, the weekend before, they had a Klan rally that was on the news. So I was nervous, I couldn't sleep. I'm thinking to myself, oh my goodness, I can't believe we're gonna play this school. So I asked my coach after practice, I said, hey, Coach Titus, I'm really scared about going to play Friday night. I'm just really nervous. Can I have assurances that you're going to protect me from the Klan? And I still remember Coach Titus said, you want assurances to be protected by the Klan? I said, yeah, I'm scared to death. The rally was all over the news. He said, well, look, box out, play well, and they will protect you. They love good basketball. I remember the laughter did help break. If you're a basketball fan or Isaiah Thomas, who Hall of Famer for the Pistons, it's funny, Bob Knight, the legendary Indiana coach, said that same thing to Isaiah Thomas's brother. Isaiah Thomas' brother said, hey, if he comes play for you in Indiana, who's going to protect him? Knight said the same thing. The brother got up to fight Knight, and it was Isaiah Thomas's mother seeing Knight ready to fight Isaiah's brother that led her to the decision to have Isaiah go to Indiana University. So if you're a Pistons fan or love Isaiah Thomas, Bob Knight said the same thing that Isaiah thought was funny, the way the humor broke my attention, but certainly Isaiah's brother didn't like that. But please know that my past in Indiana also showed me that for every one white person who ever called me the N-word, whoever told me to leave or refused to sit next to me, for every one white person who did that, there were 10 who were super good to me and helped me to get to where I am. Right? So for every one white person who's ever hurled a racial slur to me, there were 10 in my background that got me to where I am. How does my Hoosier past, how does that fit, how does Indiana's racial legacy fit with the Community Loan Fund today? Fast forwarded just 2 years ago, here in the capital region, not in Indiana. I was in a bank. I was business casual, had a golf shirt on, admittedly I think jeans, but business casual. So I was in this bank and I was listening to the bank manager here in the capital region talk about investing. And she explained something where I'm like, I always get bond curve yield. And so the way she explained it, I said to her, well, for the first time I really understand it. The lady says to me, hey, you know what? You should get a credit card with us. It will really help your credit. So I didn't say anything about needing credit help or nothing. And I said to her, I said, oh, do I look like I need my credit help? Oh, you know, I'm just saying the credit card would help your credit. Right? So I get it. I get it when some of our customers say they're concerned that maybe their race is playing a role in why they're not getting approved for loans, and hence why they've come to us. I get it when, true story, and I'm being purposely vague on this next one, but a true story, I get it because of my Hoosier roots, when a predominantly Black managed nonprofit that I was working with came to me and shared the story that they were applying for something and they kept getting denied when their Black executive director would drop it off. Finally, one of the board members got the idea, hey, we don't have to change anything. So they didn't change anything in this form, but had one of their white board members drop this form off, and then they got accepted. And that was here in the capital region. So I share that to say that I do get it, and I can certainly be a champion to those as we serve to help people of color and nonprofits serving people of color. Next, I grew up broke. And so I won't say poor. I know they say poor is a mindset. Broke is when you just don't have money. I grew up broke. I grew up with my mother, so the household I grew up in was, and for all the strong women here, I grew up with my mother, grandmother, auntie, and her daughter, who was like a sister, blood-wise cousin. So I never knew my dad, but I grew up in a house full of strong women. If you're of a certain age, you know who Jim Jones is. Remember Reverend Jim Jones, a Kool-Aid fan? And if you're young, you're thinking who's Jim Jones? Is he the rapper? The Jim Jones I'm talking about was famous for taking a group of people who was a cult leader to Africa and had them drink Kool-Aid. So if you're of a certain age, you'll think, yeah, what's that phrase, drinking the Kool-Aid? I lived in a housing project owned by Jim Jones. So there's a bunch of houses he owned. So birth through third grade was this housing project. A funny story quickly, my grandmother was entertainment at family reunions. So we would, oftentimes neighbors or family members would say, you know, Grandma, what did you think of Jim Jones? And in her Kentucky originally accent, oh, he was a good man. Jim Jones was a good man. Not what he did to them people, but the Kool-Aid was wrong, but he was a good man. Used to crack me up with that all the time. I grew up loving mayonnaise sandwiches. It wasn't until 8th grade that I realized that the reason why I loved mayonnaise sandwiches so much is because I couldn't afford meat. It was like 8th grade before I realized that. Certainly know what it's like to enjoy government cheese. I've had my share of cereal with water, and I still have a disdain for cockroaches. How does my growing up broke influence me now in this role as executive director? It fuels my passion to grow the fund so that we're ever reaching more people of low income who need our training and our technical assistance, who need a loan to take that next step in their financial security. It fuels my passion to help our nonprofit partners do more for the services that they offer to that kid who's eating a mayonnaise sandwich all the time like I did, so that they can get better, right? So I'm fueled to see us help people of low income, excited about our CIT project that's going to catapult people of low income into the middle class as they become commercial investors. Lastly, I just want to close with a little bit about my vision. I'd like to conclude with sharing a little bit about my hopes and vision for the Loan Fund. As much as I can play a part, the following would be, of course, worked out with conjunction with our board, and so please don't none of this is what I want to do. It's in conjunction with our current and future board members, but just a little bit about what I hope to see with the Loan Fund. Are you familiar with Mackenzie Scott? People familiar with Mackenzie Scott? And if you're not familiar with who's Mackenzie Scott, in case you don't know who she is, Mackenzie Scott has given away more than $19 billion with a B, $19 billion to more than 2,000 nonprofits since her 2019 divorce from Jeff Bezos, the founder of Amazon. Right? So Mackenzie Scott's a famous philanthropist, $19 billion to 2,000 nonprofits since 2019. Let's say we have an imaginary phone here, and Mackenzie Scott were just to call me on our imaginary phone, right? So if Mackenzie Scott were to call me right now on an imaginary phone and said, hey, what would you like to do? You're the new executive director. What do you want to do? What does the loan fund need? First, plain and simple in terms of my vision, one of my favorite words in the English language is the word apogee. Apogee, dictionary.com states apogee is the highest point in the development of something, a climax or culmination. Apogee from astronomy. Apogee refers to the point in the orbit of the moon or satellite at which it's furthest from the Earth. My hope and prayer, in conjunction with the board members and stakeholders here today, my hope is that organizationally we would continually reach new apogees in terms of the number of loans closed each year, making larger loans in the future. I would tell Mackenzie Scott on our imaginary phone, I hope we could reach ever increasingly more entrepreneurs and small business owners with our training and technical assistance. To reach ever continually increasing points of apogee, I'd hope to see the following. And here's just some, I won't bore you with the details. I'd love to see us in something that Destiny, who you saw featured there, can't be with us tonight. I'd like to slightly monetize an aspect of our training and technical assistance. And here's what I mean. We'll continue to be committed to free training and technical assistance. We have a course that you pay, but I would say 99% of what we do is totally free. You can sign up at your own time, call any of our staff people for questions and help with your business plan. But something Destiny and I, apart from each other and together, have noticed is that maybe some of the things we offer, that we could charge a little bit more. And by charging some and helping with groups that need help, that maybe we can generate a little more revenue for the loan fund to help us be more sustainable for the years to come. Just in the last 2 weeks alone, one a nonprofit, one a for-profit, 2 different groups asked, hey, can you send someone out to kind of do a little more hand-holding? You know, we take your courses, we see that, but we're just looking for someone to come and kind of hold our hand through some things, one nonprofit, one for-profit. So what I'm hoping in the future, and I tell Mackenzie, I'd love to see us develop, and we're in the early stages of somehow where we can help nonprofits and small businesses who need a little more hand-holding, where they win, but the loan fund wins by a new source of revenue for us to sustain us for the next 100 years. Also picture increasing and enhancing our engagement with donors and investors. My vision includes hopefully finding new donors, engaging our current donors to the best that we can. Enhancing our annual cultivation with donors. So hopefully you should see more insights into our borrowers and the impact we're making, through our social media and other presses, through tours, coming to meet the Demetrius of the world in person. So I'd love to see us even improve on our relationship with donors, our annual solicitations, launching a formal major gifts program. So I'm picturing in the near future or someday soon we can actually formally produce or create a major gift program that facilitates those who are able to make transformative gifts towards our mission. Launching a planned giving initiative, and this isn't like next week or next year, but at some point in the future, it'd be great to capitalize on the massive wealth transfer that's happening right now as people are getting older and making estate plans, trust plans, to capitalize on that, where now they win by making an investment in the community loan fund that's making a difference here in the capital region. I would say, Mackenzie, you're on the phone or our imaginary phone, I picture expanding with an actual office in Dutchess or Essex County. And so you may or may not know, if Ms. Scott asked me, what else do you hope for? I tell her oftentimes, maybe not in the last year or two, but there's always stretches where I get a ton of phone calls from nonprofits and some small business owners, but mostly nonprofits in either Essex or Dutchess County. They're just, I explain to them, hey, we're really restricted to just 11 counties, we don't go there. And it's almost a pleading. It's like, well, we don't know any CDFIs, we've researched, please, can you make an exception? And so, if the business plan makes the case, and if someday in the future, it would be great to have an actual office perhaps in Dutchess or Essex County, because again, from time to time, we just get nonprofit groups just begging, for a loan. And lastly, I'd love to see us increase staff capacity. I tell Mackenzie Scott, who's still on our imaginary phone, if we're going to be ever increasing our apogee of loans closed with ever larger loans and people trained and advised, we have to hire more staff. We have to increase the pay in order to attract and retain the area's top talent. Currently, we have staff that are, just love it, they're committed to the mission, but, want and are seeking to be paid more, and of course, we need to increase our revenue to accomplish that, to keep and retain current staff, attract future staff. I close with this. Everyone here, here's the thing. There is no imaginary phone with me today. Mackenzie Scott is not calling me tonight. On behalf of the countless entrepreneurs and small business owners and nonprofit organizations who desperately need our help, as we're the area's leading lender of last resort, meaning that people come to us when they just can't. The traditional banks want to help, but they can't due to credit score or circumstances. I humbly and respectfully ask you, would you consider tonight contacting myself or one of our staff people, contact us about increasing your investment with us if you're an investor. There's no imaginary phone here. Mackenzie Scott isn't going to call me tonight. So I humbly ask you, would you consider making a donation to us or an investment with us if you've never contributed to us before? Mackenzie Scott is not on the phone, but would you consider reaching out to someone you know? Maybe there's another organization who's not represented here, a family member, a friend, someone from your faith-based institution. Is there someone you know that you can introduce or connect us to? I close with this. As many of you know, a lot of things are going on at the federal level. We have applied and have progressed with $1 million grant from the CDFI fund, part of the U.S. Treasury. We received notice that all their staff has received notice that they would be terminated or downsized. So there's a high likelihood we may not see this $1 million grant, $500,000 of that, which would have gone to entrepreneurs and nonprofits, entrepreneurs with disabilities, or people serving those with disabilities. But $1 million is likely gone. Will you help us recover that $1 million? And just overall, that exciting CIT project, we've really invested in that. Can you help us by, again, investing, increasing your investment, making a donation, connecting us to someone you know? Again, there's no imaginary phone. Mackenzie Scott isn't calling, but I certainly would appreciate your consideration. Thank you again for coming tonight. I know you guys are so busy. Appreciate that. Appreciate all your congratulations to me, and thank you again for coming. Yes, and thank you. Congressman Marlowe. Thank you so much, sir. Congressman Marlowe is here, and we just appreciate your proclamation. Thank you so much. Congressman, would you like to say anything?
Well, I should be following the keynote speech that Dorian just offered, and I know that my office was represented by Monica this evening, so this is like a second bite at the apple, but I would be remiss if I didn't congratulate each and every one in this room for your support of or participation in the Community Loan Fund of the Capital District. The quality of life that is enhanced, the opportunities, economic opportunities, the partnerships, the connecting with the socially concerned investor community, with housing advocates, with those who really speak to the heritage efforts that are being made. I see Mary Liz and Paul out there. So all of the efforts that can be made to build this community, all of you community builders deserve a round of applause. And 40 years is a terrific contribution to Dorian and his leadership, and congratulations on being named the director. And I believe the 5th, right, in the organization?
It is the 5th.
Is that correct? And the first of color, I believe. So, this is good. This is a great thing. And to Lacey and the board, thank you for your leadership and developing the mission statement and implementation of that mission statement. To all who are part of this effort, either as workers with the fund or as volunteers. These are tough times. These are really tough times. I just came back from Washington a appealing to my counterparts on the majority side of the aisle to come back to town and finish this budget. I say it's a cruel budget. People say it's a bad budget. I say it's a cruel budget. And what I'm seeing in the news, with all of the impact, I mean, I just really appreciated your pushback and your sharing with us the walk through racism in your life. When we have all that progress being rolled back with the denial of diversity and equality and inclusion programs, what are we talking about here? This is a socially inept administration, one that is lawless. Lawless. Because the Congress, in a bipartisan, bicameral way, has initiated programs, they have developed funding levels, and this executive and his administration rescind that. That lawlessness is part of this discussion right now. Yes, healthcare is getting all the focus. With 15 million people knocked off of healthcare and 20 million paying much more, exponentially more, much more. But it's also about lawlessness, reining in that power that he's usurping from the legislative branch. And it just doesn't work that way. Our framers, our founders established a system of checks and balances that needs to be maintained. And I stand here this evening embarrassed that commitments for $1 million made to this program, staffing that works from Washington and across the country to network with you as partners, are all being destroyed. We can do better, we need to do better, we deserve to have it done better. I'm with you in this fight. Congratulations on your 40th anniversary. Continue the success stories. You've enabled entrepreneurs to blossom, you've enabled the community to grow, you've established partnerships that make a total difference. God bless you all on your 40th. Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone. Have a great night.
Have a good evening.